Hey everybody, welcome to Watching Code Office Hours. This is session number 62. We unfortunately had a couple technical difficulties with Google Hangouts the first time around. And so I'm going to point you to the correct links in case you are watching and you're having issues. And I'll just walk you through where the problems came up. So first, the first live stream did not work. And so let me share my screen so I can just walk you through the areas where we had problems. So this was the first live stream and it just says waiting. It's going to keep saying that forever. And so if you're waiting, then you'll want to move over to this one, the one I'm broadcasting right now. This one is live right now. And so if you're looking at the old one, there's a link to the correct one right here. Also in the Facebook group, I posted the correct Hangout link this time. And I guess I need to also edit the events to update the live streams. So let me do that real quick. Again, apologies for this. So let me grab the correct watch URL. I'll also put in the correct link to call in. So that should be updated. All right, so let me just, I'll also post on the Facebook group and say that I updated the links. Also updated the links in the event details. Sorry for the technical issues. All right, so hopefully we didn't lose anybody. All right, and we got Jeff back. Sweet. All right, so there's still, unfortunately, I feel bad, 6 people waiting on the old one. But if you know anyone that's watching, like David, I don't know if Jason's on the new one. If you could let them know, that'd be great. So thank you for that. And I'm gonna, I guess I'll leave this open. And then this is the new one. And I think we should be good. All right. Okay, so that sucked. So again, I apologize for that. So if this is your first time, the point of these office hours is just to help you with watching coded material. So if you're stuck on anything, this is the place to get unstuck and basically force me to help you and make sure that you understand what's going on so you can keep going. You want to join the Facebook group to get updated info and attend upcoming sessions. Today was a really good example where Hangouts got messed up. And so the updated links are posted to Facebook. And if you're not in that group, well, you may have missed it. So definitely should join there. If you want to ask a question, you do want to call in. So I will check the chat. I'll check the chat right here, but it's a lot easier to just call in. So definitely try to call in. It's the best way to ask your question. And the link to call in is going to be in this Google Doc. So in the Google Doc that I was just showing you right here, the Google Doc is linked in the YouTube description, and then you can grab this call-in link. Student of the week is actually here. That's David. And I think I just really, I talked to David about this earlier today, but just really value and I'm impressed by his consistency in seeing him put in the work every day. And he's just a really good role model. So if more people look to David for inspiration on how to learn how to program, I think that would be a good thing. So thanks, David. And also, I think David's a big part of the community too. Like in the Slack group, you're always there, and also in our video chats, we have video chats. David is often the one running focus sessions, helping other students study too, with like 25 minutes of focus work and 5 minutes of break. And so that's been a really nice thing for me. I've been working with David too, kind of doing those with him as well. So I just really appreciate that. So thanks, David. And I'll stop embarrassing you. um, the public service announcement today is about goal setting. It's something that tripped me up this week. There are a lot of changes I want to make in the business, and one big problem is like you have all these really ambitious goals, and then the big problem with me, and I think this happens to a lot of the students as well, is that you get overwhelmed by the goals and it becomes like psychologically overbearing. Um, and so this week, what I did is I kind of went through all the things I want to do, and I kind of tore them apart into really tiny atoms, the really, really small, discrete pieces of work. And the and I'm just kind of working through those, and it made me feel a lot better. And so it's something that I always knew, but it is sometimes easy to lose track of, especially when you're super excited about something and you just want to do as much as you can. But I think the real the people that really end up doing well are people that work and make progress sustainably over time. And so I think the way to do that in the past when I've been most successful is to have really small goals, but just be super consistent about them. Kind of like watching how David does his work in studying and learning. So something to learn from David. I think it's something that reminded me how to be more effective too, and I think it applies to you all too, because I think a lot of you have big goals, like you want to change your career and stuff like that. And then when you think about that day to day, it's very overwhelming because you don't see noticeable progress towards that. But you are making progress. So keep that in mind. So new stuff is Accounting.js 20. Accounting.js 20 is the latest video for members. So this is the premium stuff. It's for people that want to go beyond practical JavaScript. And this video, there's no description up yet. It'll be up soon, so it's that new. But it's the last video specifically on regular expressions. And this one is about, if I can remember correctly, negative and positive look-aheads. And I can't remember. There's something else. Negative, positive look-aheads. Oh, and back references. So they're kind of advanced topics in regular expressions, but you'll find that it's not that bad, like most things. And that's kind of the last puzzle piece we need to fully understand the code in Accounting.js and understand the way Accounting.js uses regular expressions. So I'm really excited about that. So if you're Watch Code member, you can actually see that video right now, even though it's not posted, or the description's not up yet, but the video is up if you log in. All right, so that's it for me. From here, I'll just go to open questions, and I'll call on people in the order that they called in. So it was Brian, Jeff, and David. And then if you're watching and you have a question, definitely call in as well. The link is in this doc, and this document you can find it in the live stream. Yeah, that's about it. So I'll go to Brian and Nathan, right?
Yeah. I don't have any questions specifically on any of the content, premium or practical. Might have a question when you open it to other things later on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good right now. If I come up with something, then I'll make sure to chime in.
What's the where are you at on the content right now?
I think 8. It's been a while since I went through any of the videos. I took a break for a little while, so I need to get back into it. What was the last thing that we were into? Sorry, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let me know how it goes once you get back into it. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
Yeah. I've been busy with this little guy in work and a bunch of other things, and still trying to code at the same time. So, but we're managing. But yeah, I'll chime in if I come up with something on topic.
Yeah, it reminds me of the public service announcement. Like you said that you talked a lot, or you just mentioned that you have a lot of other stuff going on. You know, you have a kid, you have a job, you have all this, you know, a bunch of things you probably don't want to do.
Mhm.
And I think that's a lot of people have that situation, right?
Sure.
So even like
Prioritizing is very
mm,
hard for me right now because a lot of the stuff that I really need to kind of hammer in isn't probably the most exciting thing to do right now. And so after taking care of a kid, working a job that you may or may not like, and yada yada yada, and
yeah,
then you don't want to go do push-ups, right? You want to sit on the couch and watch TV or something like that. Where you know a lot of the stuff that you have to offer in the course is awesome and valuable and
boring.
definitely I wouldn't say boring. It's
It's true. It's true. You can say it. You can
but
say
it's awesome. That's the thing is like
it.
every time I do dive back into it, and then I go and play with a framework or do try to solve a problem that I couldn't solve before. I'm like, oh yeah, like it just makes so much more sense. So it's definitely worth it. And prioritizing is probably the hard part for me right now. So.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, I'm excited to see you get back into it. Maybe Nathan will start learning
Yeah,
soon.
he's over here. He's hacking away.
He's just
I gave him his own keyboard that's not connected to anything right now, so he can play with that.
cool. Well, maybe Brian, what I'll do is if there's a really simple question or like practical JavaScript or anything before what you asked, one thing I've always wanted to do is have other students take a stab at answering the questions.
Yeah.
So you can raise your hand and do that if you like.
Okay.
I won't cold call you, but feel free to just chime in as if we're like in a group. All right. So next we have Jeff.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? There's a little bit of a lag in my video. I'm having trouble hearing people, but so I have a question about this.
Wait, hold on. Can you hold the microphone closer to your is your microphone on the like?
No, it's.
Oh, that's better.
It's better?
Yeah, that's way better.
That's better? Okay, cool. So my question is about this. I watched, the last video in the series on this, and I understand how you explained it as sort of a variable that changes depending on the context. But I actually had a question about a comment that you made really early on in the series, I think in version 3, right when we were making the very first object, the to-do list object. You said something like, now that we're inside of the object, we don't have access. I forget your exact words, but it's something like we don't have an option, like we have to use this inside the object. And I was wondering if you could sort of expand on what you meant by that. Like it's not an option to do, like for instance, to-do list dot to-dos dot push, like you have to do this dot to-dos dot push. I'm not sure I entirely understand.
Wait, let me try to pull up an example because I don't remember what
okay,
what I said.
yeah.
In the absence of like a direct quote, maybe I can share my screen and try to have a parallel situation, and then if you can just maybe kind of describe what you're talking about.
Sure.
So I think we had something like this, right? To-do list, and it's an object, and there's probably like a method on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's add some to-dos first. Let's just make it first, second, third, and display to-do is a really simple one. And I guess here's the part where this can come into play, right? So you could console log this use, and that would work. You could also do console log to-do list .to-dos. That would work as well.
Okay. All right. So you can do that. All right. I must have misunderstood what you were saying because I thought that you were saying that once you're inside of the object on it, like creating a method, you would have to write this up. So this is in that context is just convenient, I guess. Like you could write to-do list, that's to-do list.
Right. So the problem with the approach right here is that this is perfectly fine. It works fine. So if you have some code that looks like default, like, you know, like this example, and it works, then you don't really have, there's no reason to change it really. But if you're writing code for the first time, I would recommend this approach that I've highlighted. The reason is that you don't want to, if possible, you want to minimize the number of things you need to update if you happen to change things.
Okay,
so for example, if you rename to-do list, then and you took this approach, well then you'd have to rename the part right here as well, and you have to remember that. And this function is really short, so you probably won't forget. But when your code is long, it's really easy to miss that. So there's nothing stopping you, and there might be points where this approach right here is more clear. That's possible. In this case, it's so simple, I don't think it matters. But I think that's why I had a preference for the approach right here. But there's no like you must do it X way or yeah.
All right. Well, I probably just misunderstood what you were describing then in that video.
And then
okay, cool. Thank you.
And then the left of the dot comes into play right here. So if you call display to-dos, right now we're calling it as a method, right? Because display to-dos is a method, or we're calling it, then this inside of display to-dos will be whatever's to the left of the dot. It's going to be to-do list. And that's why you get the same result from to-do list dot to-dos and this dot to-dos, because this and to-do list are the same.
Right. Okay, cool.
Cool. Does it clear things up? Anything? Was there anything else that was like uncomfortable about this keyword?
No, I mean, there's a lot still to be learned, but that was just like one little piece of confusion of whether or not it was like optional or required within the object.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I think that I've definitely seen this happen. As you get more experience with it, it just becomes second nature. Like maybe it's hard to imagine that right now, but it really does, and you just don't notice it. Like for example, I think right now that cheat sheet that you have is essential, but you'll get to the point where you don't need to refer to it, and it's not like you'll know more information. You'll just have seen it so many times that it's like you just looked it up, so you don't need to look it up anymore. And then you just kind of like remember how things work, and then you get better at debugging too. And like, if you do forget, or you have a really complicated example, you can use the tools to help you.
Cool.
Yeah. How's your experience so far? So you said you just finished the free course?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool. I've been going through the Mozilla Developer Network tutorials and also free Codecamp, and your resources are definitely really awesome. I really enjoy going through it. I'm kind of planning to go. I don't know if I'm going to go back through it, or maybe because the free resources kind of just end, and I feel like there's more work to be done. There's like more work to be done in terms of like, getting rid of anywhere where you have to input the, array index for, a button or something like that. So I was thinking of maybe sort of like finishing the app, or maybe going through again, because I don't honestly I don't think I could build it from scratch.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah, I mean, I have that video, and I really do think it's true. It's like focus on understanding and not building from scratch.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't know how realistic that expectation is. I think so. Here's the problem. Like, a lot of students, and it's more of a personality thing. Like, friends that you would think have OCD, for example, tend to want to do this. They want to be able to build it from scratch. And I find that's like a personality thing, and it really just holds them back. So building from scratch is not necessarily to continue, but to get there, if they want to be able to build it from scratch, what they typically end up doing is they just end up memorizing it.
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, you could do that, but you know, I really don't think it's I really actually recommend that you don't do that, because it because that desire to feel that good about things
Right.
is, I think, really unproductive, because the next level, like when you get to the next hard thing, you're going to feel super uncomfortable again. And are you going to do the same thing and try to build everything you see from scratch? Like, no,
Right.
it's almost one of those things where you just have to get over it. And the sooner you get over it, the better. And then what you find is, as you get better and better, the most recent thing won't be easy, but the thing you did like 10 steps ago will just come naturally. Right. And so like, you want to go 10 steps ahead. That's when you'll be able to build it from scratch. Not like the current step. The current step, you're not going to be able to do it. But when you get 10 steps ahead and then you look 10 steps back, then you can look at that, and it's like almost a joke at that point. Right. So yeah, it's just not a good, I mean, I think time is the most valuable thing, and it's not a good use of time. And it's a bad habit, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I think what I would encourage instead is just to spend, you know, at least 20% of your time reviewing stuff. So don't only learn new stuff. You have to review it.
Right. Yeah.
And also because you'll miss things the first time. But aside from that, you should just keep going. You shouldn't try to memorize everything.
One thing that I did, I don't know if this is also indicative of OCD, but one thing that I finished all of the free code like basic algorithm tests, and then the next day I went back and like annotated the entire, like I just kept them all on one file, and I went back and annotated like every single line, like this is setting up a for loop, this is set, you know, this is the condition of the for, like every single line. And that really helped, because honestly, like after going through all those, I had forgotten what I had done, you know, and then I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And then I did like sort of clean some things up. So yeah, it is helpful to go back, and I was thinking of maybe doing the same thing with watching code as well. Right. Going back over, because honestly, every time I open up this file, I have to read, like I read through it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what this, you know, like it's definitely not. It's not. So don't have it ever memorized yet.
the annotation thing is a good habit. I highly recommend that. So it sounds like you're already doing it, so keep doing it. It is, and also doesn't take that much time.
Right.
And then what I would do is just print it out and just like leave it on your desk. It should fit on one page, I think. And then you're just, you know, you can review really quickly, and it will just become like, it will get boring. Like,
right.
So right now you said you read it and you're still like, oh, I wonder. You have to like look at it carefully. There's gonna be a point where you just look at it and you're gonna want to throw it away. It's like so useless to you. And just, yeah, that's fine too, because then you do it really quickly versus yeah, and it's using the code as the notes, not the videos as the notes, right? Because using the videos as the notes is a lot of time.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So use the most concise notes that you have, which is the code.
Cool.
So yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Keep up the good work. All right, so we got David next. David, you there? David?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any questions. Was trying to get on the YouTube stream and that wasn't working, so I popped in over here.
Okay. But are you calling from like a different device than usual?
Yeah, I'm on my iPad. I'm actually on the treadmill.
Oh, okay.
This is better than YouTube, by the way. I mean, Netflix.
It's better than Netflix? That's such a compliment.
Yeah.
My work is done.
Anyway, thank you.
I can quit now.
Thanks for the shout out. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your encouragement, guys. If you need focus, join me in the Appearance channel. I'm there every day from what is it, 8 a.m. Eastern until I can't take it anymore. So
Mhm.
love to have someone else jump in and join me.
Yeah, well, the one thing I was saying too is that I think the it's something we could both get better at, David, is having like smaller goals, because I think sometimes you go too hard,
Right.
and you don't want to burn out. So yeah, you can take breaks more often. All right, so
Sure.
so
Oh,
thanks for joining, David. Have a good workout.
all right. Thanks.
All right. So next we have Sam.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Wait, you came last week, right?
Yep.
Whoa, cool. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. So I don't really have a program question. I kind of had the same question as, I'm sorry, I forgot his name, Jeff. And because I finished watching code, and I feel like when I look at the code, I understand everything that's going on. But I feel like I also, like, if someone was asking me to build this thing, I wouldn't be able to build it. So I didn't know for sure if I would have to, like, I was gonna ask for suggestions on if I should redo the course, or and I talked to you that I would do the premium course, or should I just go ahead and get started in the premium course? So I didn't know what would be the best option for me.
Yeah. My advice is probably to continue. It's kind of like the same thing I said to Jeff, that if you just finished something, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to like do it perfectly. But when you like take 10 more steps and then look back on what you're doing, like say what you're doing is step 1, right?
Mhm.
And you keep going to step 11, and then you look back at step 1, it's probably gonna be pretty easy.
Yeah.
But like when you just finished step 1 and then you're looking at step 1, it's gonna be overwhelming and kind of hard. So
Mhm.
I think there's yeah, I think it's important. Like, I say that because it's really important to set expectations that you're not gonna it's gonna feel really bad when you just did it.
Yeah.
And it's always like that. Like, and it's not just for programming, but like, I don't know if you've learned a new language.
I've tried.
Yeah, it's the same. It's exactly the same. Like, you can't just like look at the lesson. Unfortunately, like, I don't know if people from other countries are watching, but in the US, like, languages are usually taught really poorly through a textbook.
Mhm.
And then you learn it, and then you definitely can't, like, you can't even like, say you have a conversation, like, taking the train or something, I don't know,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
elevators or something stupid. Like, you can't really do that after just learning it. But you just keep on going, and then like in a week or two of repeatedly reviewing it, then it like is easy. And
Okay.
it's I think with learning everything, it's always like that, not just programming. I think another example is like in sports, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
the thing you just learned is not, you probably you probably can't do it that well, but
Definitely.
if you stick at it and learn new stuff, and keep doing the fundamentals, the fundamental things become easy over time. But then people still like always do the same drills, like even professional athletes
Right.
will always come back to the fundamentals and like review. And I think in programming that happens too. Like, for example, if I don't look at code for a long time, I forget stuff too, and I have to like review it. But I think just from coding regularly, you so for example, as you go to more advanced stuff, you have to learn the fundamental stuff. Like, you're forced to, and so it naturally forces you to do the things that you've already learned. It's like a reinforcing, right? And then you start to see like the importance of it. So yeah, I don't know. So I'd say keep going. Brian, David, do you have any because Brian and David have gone through this already. They've gone through this process. I wonder if they have anything to add.
As far as going after being done with practical JavaScript, moving on to the paid, I think it's definitely not a bad thing to do. I went through personally, I went through practical once fully over, each video, copying and going through it step by step, and then slowly went back, and then I would try to do it just off of, like you suggest in the videos, just going off the requirements. I am a little bit OCD, so I wanted to be able to do it completely before moving on, but I definitely don't think it's necessary. I think it's something that you can move forward onto the paid content and then go back now and then, and then like you said, that you'll start seeing things. I think context is really what you need. If you don't have that, I also was coding before I started it, so I don't know where you're at in your level of understanding JavaScript and web development itself, but I think if you're not too familiar with it, moving forward and then going back is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made sense, but
yeah, I think the point is, like, all this stuff, it's not like you finish practical JavaScript and then it's done. I think the expectation I have is that you actually need to review it constantly, because the stuff from like the first series in the paid content, it's building the same application with different technologies. So you have to do the same thing in a different way. And so it does really help to think back to how it was done before, because it's pretty much the same thing. I think even by doing the same thing in two different ways, it reinforces the underlying thing that's happening in both cases. And so you get this, you do get this reinforcement. And then as you get more advanced, you continually reinforce the core things that you need to know. So for example, the series on this keyword that I just talked about with Jeff, I added that because in the first series in Premium, we see every single case in one app. And so the way I taught it at first, it wasn't as methodical as I wanted it to be. And so I actually decided, okay, I'm going to add it to practical JavaScript. So then when you come in, you just already know. And so, that's a topic from practical JavaScript, but it was really, I really added it there because you needed it for the next step. So it's like, it's this continuous line. It's not discrete steps.
Okay.
So yeah. Are there, the other thing is that if you are like, a lot of people, like Brian, for example, redid everything on his own. A lot of students do, and I think that's fine. Like, if you really want to do that, like, I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm just saying you don't have to. So there are a lot of students, they feel like they just really want to do it, and so they should do it. But I really don't think you need to. And like, I'm the type of student that wouldn't do it. As an example, I definitely wouldn't rebuild anything from scratch. I just don't have the patience to do that, and that's okay too. So if you're like me, then you can totally do what I do. If you're like Brian, you want to do it, then just go ahead. But there's no required way to do it. So just do what feels best to you. But just know, like, you really don't have to. If you, and I really stress, you really don't have to.
Okay.
And the second thing is, if you really do want to, I think that trying to build the whole thing from a blank page is really unrealistic. So here's the way I would approach it if I were gonna rebuild it from scratch: is start from the end, like the finished thing, and then just, like, for example, say there, just imagine there are 100 steps, right? Take start from step 99 and then or start from like step 99 and then do 100 on your own, right? And then start from 98 and do 99 and 100 on your own, right? And then like work like that. And so you have just a little bit added complexity each time versus the blank page is very overwhelming, I think.
Yeah, when I went through it, and it took me a while, and I did the opposite. I did start from a blank screen, but it is very intimidating, and many a times I had to go back to the videos. It wasn't like 2-3 times and I was like, yeah, perfect, got it. And I even implemented how to edit the to-dos and whatnot. But it was definitely that process of failing. And I think that reinforces a lot too, because you see what you can't do when you try to do it on your own. You're like, you expect it to do something and then it doesn't do it. And you're like, oh, well, okay, now I can bank that. That doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's almost as good as knowing what you can do, I guess.
Yeah, and the other thing is, that's a good tip. The other thing is, you have all these methods. You have like, I don't even remember, like 2 or 3 objects, and they each have methods and properties on them. Another thing you can do to try to make it more realistic or not as hard is to just delete like one method and then fix it. So just imagine your friend came and he's like incompetent and just like deleted a bunch of stuff, right? And so like he gets progressively more incompetent. So he starts by deleting one thing and then deletes 2 things, and then you fix it, and then he deletes 3 things and you fix those 3 things, right? And then until he deletes like everything except one thing, and then you fix it, and then eventually like he deletes everything and you fix the whole thing. And doing it like that is interesting because it gets progressively more difficult. But that first step is not bad at all. So imagine if like he just deleted the delete method. And that should be not bad. Like I think I quizzed you last time, right?
Yeah, you quizzed
so
me
like,
on that.
I feel like you could do that.
Yeah.
Having quizzed you last time, I feel like you could do that. And then the next step, if I deleted 2 things, I feel like you could probably do that too. Now, if I deleted like half of it and then asked you to do it, I don't know if you could,
Yeah.
you wouldn't, right? And then that's also kind of overwhelming. So you can make it manageable. So if you are going to do it, I highly recommend you make it manageable and not be like so ridiculous that I just did this, I'm going to start from blank and do it. No, you're not. You're just, if you think you're going to do it, you're probably going to memorize it. But the other thing with the progressive approach, it actually, because it's such a small piece each time, you actually can think critically about what's happening because it's not too much going on, right?
Yeah.
And the other way you can do it is, instead of deleting one thing and then deleting 2 and deleting 3, is do every combination of deleting one thing. So does that make sense? So say there are 5 things, delete this one, fix it, and then delete this one, and then fix it, and then delete this one, fix it, delete this one, fix it, delete this one, fix it, and then go to the next step, where is every combination deleting 2 things, right? So delete this one, and then fix it, and then delete this one and this one, and then fix it, right? And then delete this one and this one, and fix it. I was surprised. I wasn't sure if I could do that.
and then at the end, you just put the cursor somewhere and rake your face against your keyboard and try to fix the program.
Well, yeah. So that's probably an even better way to make it more manageable. Do every combination of missing one method or property, and then do it that way. And what's probably gonna happen is it's gonna, like, if you do every combination of missing one, you definitely will cover. You'll have explored every single part of the application in some way, and actually 5 different perspectives. So it'd be pretty interesting. And then you might just find like, all right, I'm bored as hell. Like I can't, this is so boring. Like, let's move on. Like, there's nothing new to me. Like I think you're all pretty good at figuring out like, damn, this is boring. Like, I'm not really, I get it, right? And so like, if you are, because I feel like you don't feel like that right now, right? You don't feel like you get it. So the every combination of one thing missing is a good way to do it. And maybe you don't need to do every combination of 2 missing.
Okay.
Right. If you're oh shit, if you're really OCD, you could every combination of 1 missing, every combination of 2 missing, every combination of 3 missing, and then every combination of 4 missing, and then every combination of 5 missing is everything, right?
Yeah.
If you're really OCD, I guess you could do that. So pick your flavor of OCD.
Lord.
So it's your choice, Sam.
Cool.
You want me to quiz you? I can quiz you on it, like we did last week.
You want to quit? Yeah.
Jeff, I could quiz you too.
I'll take a quiz.
All right. Okay. So we're at time right now. So I don't want to give you like 5-minute pressure. So we
Okay.
usually end the broadcast at like in 8 minutes. So once we end the broadcast, I can give you a quiz, and then you and Jeff are in the same spot. You can work on it together, and then I can embarrass you off air.
Okay.
I can be
I
more rough.
embarrassment in my ear last week.
No, you were really good. I wasn't. I underestimated. I wasn't hard enough on you, so I can try to push you a little bit more this time.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you
Cool.
did too good. So I gotta push you.
Cool.
So we can do that. That's good. Maybe the combination thing is an interesting thing. Maybe I should. I feel like that is I think that's actually really good because it doesn't force you to. It's not that overwhelming, and it does force you to really understand it, right? And I feel like it's something everyone could do. Maybe that'll be a recommendation, because I feel like a lot of people. I mean, clearly, like you and Jeff are not. I mean, a lot of people probably have the same experience.
Mhm.
I wasn't gonna say you're not unique, but that could be offensive. But a lot of people have the same. A lot of people have the same experience, so you guys are unique. I think when you have such a basic course like practical JavaScript, the reactions are going to be very similar. Let me add that to my notes. So encourage people to do every combination of deleting one feature. How about that? Okay, I'll think about it. I think it's I'll consider that as a general recommendation. Okay.
Cool.
So let me check any other questions. So we got 5 minutes left. So it's your last chance to ask a question. And then we'll shut down the broadcast. And then typically we have a kind of casual chat after. Once the broadcast ends in 5 minutes, we have more casual chat. You can ask random stuff that's not necessarily code focused. So, or if you just you don't feel comfortable asking a question, you can wait till the end. But I'm just going to do one run through and see if there are any questions on the live chat and stuff like that. All right. So let's check. I'll check. You'll check with me. Okay. I apologize for the 2 people waiting on the old stream. It's my fault. You can downvote this. Yeah, you can dislike it. I'd understand.
You should dislike it just for.
I mean, it's true. It's true. All right, so no questions here. 11 watching now. That's a good sign. It looks like most people moved over. I'm hoping that these 2 people they're also here because they want to make sure they're not missing anything. They're like just really thorough. They're the people that did every combination of 5 things missing. So yeah. All right. So no questions here. And then let's check the Facebook group. Nope, no questions there. All right. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties. Oh, that's lame. Okay, cool. So if you want to continue the chat, then call into the Hangout. If not, then thanks for joining and hope that this was helpful. If you have any feedback for me about the session or about the course or whatever, about the crappy experience today, then you can email me. It's Gordon@watchingcode.com. And then Ken, thanks for coming, and hope to see you next week. All right, so I'm going to stop the broadcast.